Is in the building with his crazy self. How you guys doing? You can like, share, subscribe, donate by Western Union or MoneyGram. Man, I'm sleepy. But we're gonna talk about this. Triple G is gonna be fighting over this weekend, Friday night, in Miami, Florida, or in Florida. I don't know where in Florida, but in Florida. And Canelo will also be fighting this weekend in Texas, in the Alamo Dome. And a lot of people like to say that Triple G and Canelo are the same thing. Listen to Lion Killer, his channel. He was actually talking about this earlier on today. And he was trying to lump them in the same kind of class. They're not in the same kind of class. They're just not. Triple G is going to be facing an opponent named Kamil Sharameta. I actually decided to look into the guy because I believe it's Triple G's IBF or IBO or something mandatory. So I decided to look into the guy. Is he anything special? No. Does he do certain things that are pretty interesting? Yes. Is he top tier or elite? No. He's a fighter like Triple G, mid-range fighter. Has some good counter-punching skills, He slips punches, comes with the right hand, starts with the right uppercut. He has a nice jab to the pit, but he gets hit. Now, he slips a lot of shots, dips from shots and so on, but he still gets hit. And he gets hit with punches that Triple G specializes in throwing, like that overhand right to the temple area, overhand left to the temple area. He himself kind of throws a shot like that. I guess it's a European thing. But my thing is this. He's not going to last with Triple G. Triple G's going to knock him out. Now, I believe this weekend is a perfect example of how Triple G gets a pass and Canelo does not get a pass. And there's always an inbuilt excuse. Oh, Triple G's old. He's on his downside. So he can fight another fighter that's nowhere near his level. Nowhere even remotely near his level. It's not even a B-level opponent. It's a C-level opponent. Triple G's about to face. And he's not going to lose. He's going to look sensational because this guy, he fights one way. He comes forward. He has a style something like Triple G. Works his jab pretty well and so on, but he doesn't have the conditioning nor stamina to deal with the Triple G. He just doesn't. So, some people like to say, well, Triple G and Canelo, they're the same. No, they're not. This weekend, Canelo's facing the WBA super middleweight champion of the world in Callum Smith, who is rated currently at this time the lineal champion of that division. He's the number one super middleweight in the world. Triple G's not facing anybody like that. Triple G is facing a guy who is not elite. I can tell you that for a fact. So when people try to lump Canelo with Triple G, that's an insult to Canelo, man. Look at Canelo's resume. Say what you want about him ducking Jamal Charlo. Say what you want about him avoiding Demetrius Andre. That's the only common thing him and Triple G have in common. They have nothing else in common. Nothing else in common. Nothing. Even Canelo's Rocky Fielding fight, which I believe was his last, lower level, low tier. At least Rocky Fielding achieved a secondary world championship title. Triple G doesn't fight guys like that. He doesn't even fight guys like that. So when you actually, and this is the weird thing, I'm gonna make it abundantly clear so you guys can understand the hypocrisy behind this Triple G fanboyism. It's Triple G fanboyism. And then they have the audacity to tell me Triple G beat Canelo in the first fight. Up to this day, I can't understand it. It makes no sense. I'm not a Canelo fanboy. Y'all know that. I'm critical of Canelo. But at the same time, there are things that are just not true. They're false equivalencies. Canelo and Triple G are not the same. They're just not the same. Canelo was going to face Billy Joe Saunders, who is deservedly, in my opinion, humbly, in the 168-pound division as it stands. I think he's the best 168-pounder out there right now, aside from Canelo. He's got a better resume. He also has all-around skills. Caleb Plant's a little bit less. He lacks experience. He's a much more refined guy. He would be the next guy I would look at. The least. This is the weirdest thing. Everybody else is hot on this guy called Jose Benavidez, but I don't see him as the actually strongest guy at 168. What I mean by that is the most best all-around boxer. Benavidez has quick hands. He throws a lot of combinations. But he's exclusively fights on the outside, off his jab, which is not a problem for Canelo. Callum Smith at least got tested by a guy who's in fighting skills. I mean, let's just be real. David Benavidez was tested by Ronald Gabriel. He passed the test the second time around. But the point is, David Benavidez still doesn't have good inside game. He's still working on that. Yes, he's a big 168-pounder, but what does that mean? Canelo's fought Sergey Kovalev, who's much bigger than David Benavidez. Okay? Now follow me on this. Listen to the names associated with Canelo Alvarez. We're talking David Benavidez, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders. Let's not forget Demetrius Andre and Jamal Charlo, who will be moving up to 168 as well. And we all know that it looks like we might get, finally, Demetrius Andre versus Billy Joe Saunders. That would be a good matchup. And whoever wins has a really good name on the resume. But these are the names that we're talking about with Canelo. And everybody's going to say, well, Canelo's very young. Yes, but he's more experienced than Triple G. He's more experienced than any fighter right now. He's a senior. Canelo is a veteran of the sport. He's younger than Jamal Charlo. He's younger than Terrence Crawford. But he's got more experience than all of them. Now, anyway, the point is, hold on a second. The point is, I can't even sit down and rest. Oh, got you. All right. The point is that, hold on a second. Okay. The point is that Canelo, his resume is nothing like Triple G's. Nothing like Triple G's. The level of opposition Canelo has faced throughout his career is way superior than any boxer's opposition except for Manny Pacquiao so far. Okay? It's just what it is. Canelo and Triple G are two vastly different guys. Canelo is facing the best right now. Whether you like it or not. He was going to get Billy Joe Saunders. That didn't work out, and Billy Joe Saunders kind of screwed up his own opportunities. So he's facing the next best thing on DAZN at least that Matchroom could offer, which is Callum Smith. He wanted Caleb Plant. It didn't work out. Okay? That's the guy he wanted. And that shows the kind of guy Canelo is. Do you think he's not going to face Demetrius Andrews or Jamal Charlo? I think he's going to do it because he's left Golden Boy. Do I particularly care for him to face Yildirim? Hell no. I don't care for him to face Yildirim. Yildirim should go off and, I know he's supposed to be the mandatory, but he should go off and face David Benavidez. But anyway, look who Canelo's fighting this weekend, and look who Triple G's fighting this weekend. And don't give me the excuse, Triple G's 39 years old. He's an old guy. He should get a little tune-up. No, let me tell you why. DAZN signed Triple G for $100,000. Guess what? Triple G is not getting a pay cut. Canelo is. That's why Canelo had to leave DAZN. Because DAZN wanted Canelo to face Triple G and said that Canelo's opposition, we're talking the guys that Canelo has faced, Sergey Kovalev, Daniel Jacobs, they were saying that wasn't premier fighters. What the hell is wrong with these people? And Triple G, in the meantime, has been facing who? Who has been facing? Steve Rose. That's a premier fighter. Sergey Derevyanchenko. I mean, he proves to be a premier fighter. He's a top elite fighter, but he's never been a world champion. This guy's been fighting guys who are not world champions. And he struggled with Derevyanchenko. Struggled with him. This is the guy that was signed with DAZN. Okay? Canelo, on the other hand, his tune-up was a 168 pounder. Canelo always being challenged to go up in weight. He went up in weight to 168, full 168, faced a 168 pounder, a world champion, a secondary world champion, a world champion, and whatever the guy's name is, I can't remember his name. The point is, after that, he faced Danny Jacobs. After he faced Danny Jacobs, he faced Sergey Kovalev. And now he's going to be facing Callum Smith. All those are reputable names. Now, Gennady Golovkin faces Steve Rose. Sergey Derevyanchenko's a good fighter. Okay, so that was good. Yeah, I can argue he lost that fight against Derevyanchenko, even though he dropped Derevyanchenko. And Derevyanchenko put a beating on his ass. So he's got now he got about four separate beatings. First was Danny Jacobs, then was Canelo 2 times, and then it was Sergey Derevyanchenko. Okay, 4 beatings. All right, now they come up with a fighter that's tailor-made for him. Tailor-made for him. Okay, Sharameta. Tailor-made for him. He doesn't get a pay cut. Canelo gets a pay cut. Well, Canelo's not with them anymore. And now it's on pay-per-view with Canelo. My point being, you cannot, don't do that. You don't put Canelo in the same lump. You can say Canelo looked for a way out when he had to face Jamal Charlo, just like how Gennady Golovkin did. You could say Canelo was looking like he wanted to unify all the belts. Then all of a sudden, he made a turn when Demetrius Andrews showed up on the scene. You could say that. But even that might not be factual because guess what? Demetrius Andrews is moving up to 168 and Canelo's still talking about unifying all the belts at 168. So if that is really true, if Demetrius Andrews faces Billy Joe Saunders, whoever the winner is, Canelo faces that guy, it would tell me that Canelo is interested in unifying all the belts. And it was Golden Boy was fucking up his program because Golden Boy wanted him to face Triple G. And they made it possible for Canelo to lose a belt so that Triple G could pick up that scrap. It's the same thing happened to Canelo when he said, hey, man, let's negotiate this. And he lost his WBC title to Triple G, who picked it back up again. When I look at it time and time again, I can understand why Canelo don't want to fight Triple G. It's like this motherfucker keeps on fucking up my legacy. Every time I see this motherfucker, something negative happens to me. They say he was caught with clenbuterol in his system. Again, fucking Triple G's around. So, I mean, Triple G has done nothing to help Canelo. Why should Canelo give him a fight? You know, and then endorses the Canelo's so pissed about Triple G. He don't want to give him a paycheck. Give him a paycheck for what? Fuck Triple G. And I agree. I agree with that because what has Triple G done? What has he done but loaf around? And see, this is the same thing I'm trying to say about Terrence Crawford too. But Terrence Crawford's actually making moves finally to make something happen. But there's these guys like Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, and Triple G. They just be loafing around, facing okay to non-ranked fighters, and saying, "Oh, these guys are ducking me and they're afraid of me," and it's a bullshit. It's bullshit. They want an easy route to get a paycheck. I never liked that. You know, Triple G live off of Canelo's name. He's linked to Canelo. He's not that good. He's overrated. Look who he's facing. A guy who's an okay fighter, but he's not an elite fighter. And he's not being tested. He's not being challenged because there's always the inbuilt excuse. There's always an inbuilt excuse for Triple G. First it was he was being ducked. When that was proven to be false, then it was, oh, well, you know, he's getting old. No, he got his ass beat by better performing fighters. From Daniel Jacobs to Canelo to Derevyanchenko. These were elite boxers. And he got his ass beat by each one of them. He got decisions. He got decisions he shouldn't have gotten. So that's why when I say to people, man, I don't like this dude called Triple G. He a bum slayer. That's what he really is. He worse than Deontay Wilder. At least Deontay Wilder faced Tyson Fury and got his ass beat. But Triple G, he can't even take the losing. He's like Donald Trump. He got beat by Canelo. Twice. Canelo made him look like a fool the first time. Outboxed him. The second time, Canelo walked his ass down, beat him up. But people don't like Canelo so much, and they talk about the favoritism, which honestly, the WBC really does not help the situation. Right? The franchise belt. Now this stupidness about Yildirim being a mandatory when Canelo has no mandatories because you said the franchise belt. Nobody has a mandatory to that. So I don't even understand that logic. That Kuka maybe soup thing that the WBC is building around Canelo. Furthermore, why is Yildirim facing Canelo? It should be David Benavidez. That's what the fans would want to see. I thought this franchise belt thing was so that fans could see the fights they want to see. And nothing get in the way of those fights. So why is it Yildirim is the mandatory instead of David Benavidez? David Benavidez should have been the mandatory. And if not, David Benavidez was the number one contender, should be fighting Yildirim for that mandatory position. So I don't understand how the hell Yildirim became a mandatory for Canelo, first of all, which is not possible because Canelo, he don't have no mandatories as a franchise champion. That was the whole point behind it. So anyway, there's always somebody in the mix messing up the game. And Canelo shouldn't be indulging that stuff. He shouldn't be. You're looking to get the money fights, the big fights. You're not looking for an easy fight in between. You got to start now as a world champion facing top level guys. This ain't the days of Chavez or the days of Sugar Ray Robinson or the days of, no. Those guys used to have stay busy fights. No, you have to adapt to a new standard. Now that you raised your game, you should be facing a certain tier of fighter straight down the pike for the rest of your career. No more stay busy tune-up fights like that. So that's the thing that the fans get mad at Canelo for. But when you think about it, his only stay busy fight was Rocky Fielding, which, I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's boxing. So this weekend, Canelo's going to face Callum Smith. And Triple G is gonna face a guy we never heard about, unless you in boxing and you following the European scene. And Sharameda. It's what it is. Kyle Smith is obviously a much better fighter than Sharameda is. There's a vast difference in Canelo's opponents. What you call a cherry pick with Canelo is a whole other standard. Canelo's held to a whole other standard. A whole other standard. That's sad. Because Canelo's cherry pick being going down to 154 facing Liam Smith, a world champion. That's a cherry pick. Liam Smith would not be a cherry pick for any other fighter. When Canelo went up and faced Rocky Fielding, that was a cherry pick for Canelo. And rightfully so, because Rocky Fielding really isn't on that level. He's not an elite fighter. So that's what I got to say for now. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in boxing. People are held to different standards. And, you know, even this Andre Ward thing, which people are trying to lash out and say, oh, you know, why not James Toney? Why not Miguel Cotto? I even was in a boxing group saying, I gotta say, Andre Ward didn't bring anything to the sport of boxing, you know, and he quit. He quit out of boxing. I'm like, you gotta have some real serious dislike for Andre Ward to say something like that. That's just dumb. It's not even accurate, you know. And I just feel like I don't give Canelo a pass on, you know, the franchise belt thing that he took up. Not going to give him a pass on that. Not going to give him a pass on the fact that he said he wanted to become undisputed and he did not face Demetrius Andre. And while I can't straight out say he ducked them according to the rules of ducking, technically he still did. You know, unlike Triple G, who straight up ducked them and then fought Varnes Martirosyan. That's just a straight duck. Martirosyan is not even in the league of Jamal. Now you can say something about Sergio Cola because he was actually a world champion. He just fought, you know, Anthony Yarde and beat him and all of that. But you know, Canelo's a little bit more subtle. You know, you know it's a subtle duck, but you can't really come straight out and say it, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I'm gonna catch you guys later, man. What you need in the building. I got some other things I want to talk to you guys about, but we'll talk about it another time. Deuces.